Good afternoon, everyone. Here today for a regular meeting of the Civil Service Commission. Let's meeting to order, and let's start with the introduction of commissioners. Start with Commissioner Everett.
Commissioner Everett here. Greg Moore.
I see you, Commissioner Taylor, online.
Yes, here.
And Commissioner Stout here as well. Let's go with Civil Service Commission staff, starting with Gracie.
Gracie Bettis here.
Dylan Topsy here.
Diana Rebecca, 1 second here. Ali Shiho here. Tammy Lewis. Stephanie Rios.
Online staff,
Janet Martinez.
did you say you're
Michael Banks.
Brad
Melissa
Martin, City
Hawkins.
Attorney. Other guests online.
Lynn Matese.
Technician Carlos Montoya, DPD Recruiting.
Mike Gargaro, Civil Service Commission.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the April 8th meeting?
So moved.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And I see a signal from Commissioner Taylor, and that motion passes. Now I'll pass it over for the commission calendar.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to go over the commission calendar for June. For June 2nd, we have physical agility. For June 8th, we have the DFD Captain Assessment Center. And that goes through the whole week from June 8th to June 12th.
Excuse me, Janet, if you are projecting the calendar, we are unable to see it on the screen.
Okay, one moment. Got it. Okay.
Now we can see
Now
it. Thank
can you see it?
Again.
Okay,
Yes, we
you're
can. Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. So we are going to be doing, I'm sorry, let me start over. For June 2nd will be physical agility. From June 8th to the 12th, we'll be doing the Denver Fire Department Captain Assessment Center with the commission meeting on June 10th. Then we'll go over to June 15th. We'll be doing the the Denver Police Department will be having their academy start for the 26-2 class, as well as the Lieutenant Assessment Center for the DPD. Then on June 22nd, we have the DPD Lieutenant Assessment Center starting, and that will run until the end of June, which is June 26th, with June 24th being a commission meeting. On to July. We have July 15th, the application deadline for the 2026 police lateral position. And then for July 26th, we have our commission meeting. This concludes our calendar presentation. Please note some dates are subject to change.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to public comments. This is a time if anyone from the public is interested in making comments. We value your insight and feedback. Seeing none, we will, and if you are joining late, there will be an opportunity at a later date for public comment. Now moving on to board updates. I had the opportunity to attend a promotional ceremony last Friday, I believe. And always really enjoy seeing, going out and seeing, you know, the lives that our service impacts, and know that that can happen without the folks on this staff. And so thank you. And it's always an incredible experience. If you haven't been to one of those, there, you know, again, you're seeing not just lives being changed, families being changed, and I don't get to go to a lot of high school graduations or things like that. And so it's great to be there. And so thank you. Other comments from the board?
It's good to hear that, though.
Yes. And at this time, we would like to present a plaque and gift from the Civil Service Commission to Commissioner Everett.
Oh, wow.
Do you,
Picture.
okay. Yes.
Today is officially Commissioner Everett's last meeting for his city council appointment. Can we have Commissioner Everett in?
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Yes.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Bitch.
Anything you'd like to say, Commissioner Everett?
Yeah, I want to say, just want to thank everyone. I think a lot of times when you think about agencies and how they run, there can be some rocky times, there can be some smooth times, but I think I saw everything with the commission. And I saw how things can turn around. I've been part of a lot of organizations where things stay rocky, but like everything's running smoother. I think the board is totally engaged, and I'm excited to see what the future brings.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think I sent you an email, but I will say that I've been really impressed with your commitment. This is a lot, and you did come in a very, you know, in a moment of transition for the commission, and you've been really, really helpful. I think you certainly pushed my thinking and thinking thinking holistically about candidates, and also you were incredibly, and I think Commissioner Moore would agree with me on this, incredibly helpful in the executive director evaluation and bringing your professional experience and helping us, you know, stabilize and not just stabilize, but really move this organization forward. And so I just thank you for your service. It's a lot of hours looking at files and reading stuff like that. And I think only really the five of us can understand how much time, and the team understand how much time that is. And so thank you so much for your service.
Yeah. The only thing I would add is, I want some of that money you get. The only thing I would add too is, I always appreciated the questions that you asked. And I think it really pointed us in a direction to really focus on sort of refining our thinking and putting in standardized sort of concepts about how we evaluate candidates that I thought was really, really helpful. And just to underscore what the Vice President said, I just really appreciated your human resources perspective. Like, you really helped on that evaluation, just elevating the language and making sure we're communicating as clearly as possible to Gracie her value to us. So thank you so much for everything. And you pick good places for lunch, so let's do that again. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, I will move on to the executive director's report.
We're just waiting on the presentation. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is April 22nd. Next slide, please. So I wanted to introduce commissioners of 3 new members of the team. We recently onboarded new background investigators. And new team members, feel free to put yourself on camera. I do have your photos here. But the first one is Bart Garrison. He's originally from Boston. He came to Denver 25 years ago. He has had 2 careers, a 26-year career in the Navy and a 21-year career as a federal agent. In his free time, he likes to go to the gym, go on walks and hikes, go out with friends, and work on his classic cars. Now, this statement might be controversial, but it is Bart's. He is also a big sports fan, with football being his favorite. Although he has been here for years, Janet, close your ears. He still holds allegiance to the Boston sports team. Welcome, Bart.
Yeah, welcome, Bart.
Thank you, Bart.
And next
Thank you.
slide.
I'm glad to be here.
And Bart, we've been here about the same amount of time, and I came from Boston in 2002.
Okay. And
Do you
is
still
your
hold
sport?
allegiance?
That was my question.
I'm a football fan, but I'm not a native of Boston, so my favorite team is the Cleveland Browns.
That could be worse than being a Patriots fan.
You're doing that to yourself.
That's almost like portrait for what's happening. All right, next one is Christina Leone. She previously served as a jail deputy with the Larimer County Sheriff's Office in Fort Collins, Colorado, and assisted with background investigations for the Sheriff's Office contract employees. She currently works in the juvenile justice space for the 8th Judicial District as a pretrial assistant and detention bag manager, coordinating placements and supporting case management for youth. She holds a Master of Public Administration from American University and has prior experience as a healthcare quality consultant, focusing on improving patient satisfaction and outcomes. Outside of work, she spends time outdoors hiking and trail running with her teenage son and 2 German short-haired pointers. Welcome, Christina.
Welcome.
Welcome.
All right. We've got our last one, Kevin Nichols. He has 20 plus years in law enforcement, leading complex investigations and advancing public safety. His expertise is in intelligence analysis, high-level interviewing, and security strategy. He's recognized for response to critical incidents, including the STEM school shooting, and experience in organized crime cases. He is a field training officer for 8+ years, mentoring 20+ deputies. He's committed to strong partnerships, integrity, and protecting the community. He also enjoys the outdoors in his free time. Welcome, Kevin. All right, and before we move on to the next slide, I just also want to officially welcome from his extended family, Carlos Montoya from DPD. He is one of the new recruiter because you saw Noah last Friday, Nate McGee, who was the recruiter, promoted. So Carlos Montoya will be joining us. Carlos, do you have any few words for the commission?
No, just I'm glad to be part of this. I've been on the department for 30 years now, and I still got some time left. So I'm glad to be part of this recruiting unit and trying to get some good potential candidates to join us.
30
years, that's dedication.
You still got some time.
You got 10 to go.
30 more to go. All right.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize I'm only 52, so I still got plenty of time.
Dude.
Excellent.
40 then.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. All right, well, welcome. And next slide, please. So commissioners, just informing you, part of our process improvement is the availability and of translation and interpretation within our background investigations space, especially. We soft launched it on April 3rd, and the intent is to bridge the gap between background investigators and limited English proficient references. Because we have had instances in the past where, the references have limited English proficiency. And so it was difficult for investigators to navigate those reference calls. So we want to have this to help ensure the accuracy and effectiveness of the hiring process. Because if we fail to do so, it can result in misinformation and incorrect hiring decisions. And as we know, references are really critical in our processes. So we have one team member who's available, I want to say on demand, right, Diana?
Yes.
On demand for Spanish oral and written interpretation. She took the HR's test to be able to do the interpretation for Spanish. So she passed that. And then for other spoken languages, background investigators will utilize Propio. I hope I'm saying it right. That is the city's on-demand phone interpretation vendor. So they have the ability to do a three-way call. And then CSC is also working on translation for personal reference questionnaires for some of the more common language to start with, Spanish, French, Arabic, Swahili, Turkish, and Vietnamese.
Is that the most common, like Turkish, for instance, doesn't often pop in my head when I see language surveys.
Yeah, it's also, I base that off also of the languages that candidates are maybe
Oh,
native
okay.
speakers of as well. So we went with the data of what's our common languages for Denver and also for our candidates, more specifically, what are we assessing them in for special skills points? And so we based it off of those to start off.
Thank you.
All right, and I will now turn it over to Ally to present us with the 2026 quarter one candidate experience survey.
That was a pretty good introduction there. So next slide, thank you. We had 42 survey respondents in quarter one. 41 were entry-level police applicants, and we had 1 lateral applicant. 36% of the respondents were hired and 6 were disqualified. 1 was disqualified at the initial online application. 1 was at polygraph. 3 were disqualified at the background investigation stage, and 1 was disqualified at the physical ability test. Our overall favorability for quarter one was 84%. So we exceeded our satisfaction goal for the quarter and saw a 2% increase in satisfaction from 2025.
Hey, Ally, the math for the disqualified versus hired, that doesn't add 42, does it?
36 plus 6?
Oh, I see. So, yeah, so the bullets are under disqualified.
Just to break it
They're
down.
breaking down to 6. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes. Any other questions?
That was a dumb one.
Okay.
No.
Next slide, please. Next slide, Janet. Awesome. So these are the survey questions with the highest favorability. And just a reminder, when we talk about favorability, we're referring to the percentage of respondents who are considered satisfied. So we have the online application system Workday was easy to use. Favorability at 93%. The informational materials on the Civil Service Commission website helped me understand the application process, 86%. The Civil Service Commission provided frequent updates about the status of my application throughout the process, 86%. The communications that I received from the Civil Service Commission helped me understand what was expected of me throughout the application process, 86%. The Civil Service Commission responded to my communications in a timely manner, 85%. Next slide. We scored the lowest on the question. The amount of time it took to get through the hiring process was reasonable. That was at 67% favorability. But it is worth noting that there were a few comments from candidates saying that they understood applying to be an officer is a lengthy process in general. So while we didn't meet our goal here, it seems our candidates were fairly understanding of the situation.
What's the goal? 80%?
80%.
How does this, the last time we did the survey, what was that number?
I can check on that for
Okay,
you.
just curious. Seems like, where we were, maybe a little better.
I'll check on that. I don't have it in front of me.
And also to just, an added note, like when candidates are asked this question, it basically is asking for the entire process, right? And we have to also consider like from the time they applied until the academy start date.
Right.
So that can also factor in, that would be anecdotal for me because we don't really break it down with that question, like, I was dissatisfied because it took me X amount of time between application to hire date versus within the background investigation. I think it's just overall feel for them in like how long it took.
Okay.
Next slide, please. We asked candidates which steps of the hiring process they would like to see improved. In addition to listing step options, we give them the option to opt out or to say they were reasonably satisfied with all aspects of the hiring process. 67% of candidates said they were reasonably satisfied with all aspects of the hiring process, and that number did increase since 2025. In the table here, you could see the top 3 selections for which steps candidates want to see improved. We have the physical medical evaluation. Candidates wanted more testing location options and wanted flexibility in when they could schedule their exam. They specifically noted it was difficult to schedule around their current job. We have psychological medical evaluation. Again, the candidates wanted more scheduling flexibility. They wanted more options for appointment times that could work around their schedule. The most frequently expressed concern was that the vendor's website and scheduling instructions were unclear and hard to understand. And they said the website felt outdated and not user-friendly. As far as the background investigation, people said they were asked to provide more than they initially expected. And so they said it took time to get documentation from past employers and to gather personal documents like tax returns. And they said the amount of time it took to hear back from past employers throughout the length of their investigation. So these people said we could improve by providing more notice about what documents they're going to need to gather for their investigator, and then just what to expect about the process in general.
Is that something, Gracie, that we can easily fix? Like, I mean, at some point, way early in the process, say if you make it to this point, this is what you need to get? Because that would be helpful to me.
Right, certainly, I think there is room for us to maybe come up with frequently asked documents other than your standard birth certificate, proof of age, education. But we've also seen in at least, from what I can recall, you know, requesting candidates to get their foreign education evaluated and not just translated. I think there were a couple where they had to wait because that takes time. And we don't generally ask for tax returns, but that's an opportunity for us to verify employment. So we don't look at the earnings, we just look at to verify employment if the other means of verification isn't available.
Yeah.
Because you have candidates who may be employed, because we've leveraged to where they will, they can pull their old work number report. So tax return is one of those last resorts. So I feel like that's an isolated incident, but that alone is, that can take time. But I agree. I mean, there's an opportunity for us to come up with frequently requested documents from the get-go.
Great, thanks.
Any more comments or questions? No. Next slide, please. We asked candidates if there are any elements of the application process that stood out positively to them. People reported positive and helpful interactions with the CSC staff. Staff members were a source of support throughout the hiring process and responded to questions quickly. The polygraph vendors were polite and professional. Candidates thought the scheduling process was timely and efficient. And the physical ability test, candidates said the test was a good way to understand the physical expectations of the academy. And they said the instructions they received at the test were clear and helpful. And my favorite comment was that it was fun. So that's good. Any questions on this?
No.
All I have for you today.
Thank you. That concludes Executive Director's report. We can move on to number 8.
And now let's go on to number 8 on the agenda, the 2026 Police Promotional Exam Updates. Amy?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, nice sticky out. We are currently working on the lieutenant promotional process for Denver Police. The DHA evaluations have been completed. The multiple choice test questions have been finalized for the test, and the multiple choice test will be held on May 7th. The SMEs are currently working with the vendor on the assessment center exercises, and the assessment center will be held June 26th. I think Janet mentioned this on the calendar, June 26th through June 22nd through June 26th. And I think that's all for DP.
Thank you. And on to the 2026 fire promotional exam updates. Stephanie.
Good afternoon, all. I'm going to start with engineer. On April 9th, we had the multiple choice exam, which had 15 candidates participate. With the predetermined cutoff score of 70%, we had 9 candidates that moved on and are now eligible for the assessment center, which will be taking place on May 12th and May 13th. For the CAPTIM process, we have 58 candidates that are scheduled for the multiple choice exam, which is being held tomorrow. And that one also has a predetermined cutoff score of 70%. So we will hopefully have a determination by next week of who will be moving forward to the assessment center, as Janet mentioned, which will be held the week of June.
Is that cutoff score higher than past years?
I think it's lower, or is it higher?
Oh,
I don't have the exact passing scores in the past examination, but I know in the past we had the Ingolf committee
yeah.
for some of these examinations, so it could have varied. 70% is kind of like where the fire department administration has recommended as like the foundational threshold, right, for them to have that knowledge. To be ready for the promotion. I do want to mention Commissioner, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Tammy.
Thanks, Steph.
I do want to mention to the commissioners, a few things that has transpired from the development, of the promotional process for your awareness as well and for transparency. So in past cycles, so what typically happens in how we develop these promotional exams is we send out, we do the request for proposal for competitive procurement. And then once a vendor is selected, they would then work with department identified subject matter experts to develop the test. What has historically happened is that the test is being developed after the job is already posted or announced, right? Because of the timing that you're working with, because we're on a very strict deadline to make sure that we have a new eligible register when the current eligible register expires. So in the past, some of the feedbacks we received is on our job announcement, we give them the reading materials, the study materials, right? And it's a very broad list of reading materials. And so some of the feedback we've received is like, when it gets down to the multiple choice, it's 120 questions. And so it's a lot of reading and studying and only very limited content, it ends up on the test. So what we did in this 2025 cycle to help candidates is after these meetings have kind of identified, because what they do is they will go through the list of the broad reading materials and then sort of rank them on like highly critical, still like medium importance and then less important. So then most likely the test items will come from the highly critical, most important ones, and then if you needed more questions from the medium topics, right?
Right.
So what we did was we went ahead and in the handouts that candidates received a day before their orientation, we provided them the narrowed list of reading materials. So from your broad reading list in the handout, you will now have a narrowed list, which there are no new contents, so we're not adding new materials, but basically giving them more areas of focus, right? Now, obviously you have people who study early and then you have people who maybe study a little bit later in the game. And so there were some feedbacks about, that sort of may adversely put those who have studied way earlier at a disadvantage over those that just studied. So, but what I had informed our stakeholders is the intent is still to support everybody. So I really wanted them to have a narrower focus so that they can better prepare. So that's a concern that we receive, and I think we've answered all questions and, just wanted to bring to your attention that that was a concern, right?
How would that put an early studier at a disadvantage?
Because they've studied the broad list of content and now the ones who maybe waited until the orientation, which nobody knew we were going to issue a narrowed list.
Yeah.
But they did not have to study the broad list. But again, it's.
That's not a disadvantage though. It's not a disadvantage. You just studied, more, you studied earlier, you're not cramming. That's not a disadvantage. I get the point.
Right. So But our commitment then is that in the next cycles, commissioners, what we're going to do is we're gonna go ahead and do the competitive procurement ahead of time so that we develop the test before we even post any materials. So from the get-go, they will have a narrow list, right? It's just that we couldn't do it in 2025. It was like we had needed to take half a step in order to get to the full step. But I just, for transparency purposes, I want you to know that that was a concern. Another thing is, you know, we're working very hard with our vendor, and they have been very gracious with like, I know Tammy and Stephanie can attest to this. They have been very sort of gracious to all the requests that we have. We are now issuing official, so when our candidates take the multiple choice exam, they have the ability to protest a question, right? And so what we've done, at least for the first round of exams, the engineer, and we intend to do for captain and lieutenant for police, is issuing an official protest result notice. Because I look at protests as a means of an appeal, right? So when you have an appeal, we have the duty to inform people formally what the results of those appeal are. And so what they're gonna see is what were the test questions that were protested. This means that our vendor will work and review these protest questions against the source materials, come up with a determination, which is, you know, it depends. Sometimes they get credited, everybody gets credit. Sometimes a question may be tossed out, but then, so it has that decision, and then it will provide very high level reason on why the decision came about. So that's something new as well. Historically, we haven't provided that, but I just feel like if I was the candidate, I would want to know at least why,
Yes.
right? But we also have to be prudent in what we communicate. So those are some of the things that we are doing and have come up on our promotional.
So if the protest is upheld, is the question changed or eliminated?
It can be eliminated. It cannot be changed because it's already, the test is done.
For future tests?
Every test is developed,
Oh, I see.
so we don't recycle test questions.
I got you. Okay.
Tammy, Stephanie, did you have anything to add?
No.
No. All right. Thank you. That is it for promotional. No one.
Thank you. And now, on to the deliberation of candidates.
All right, we'll now do commission review of candidates, where the commissioner will vote on which candidates move forward in the hiring process from this point. They collect votes in order as listed for those present. So that's Commissioner Moore, then Everett, then Stout, then Taylor. Start with candidate 131041.
No.
No. No.
No,
Candidate 349821.
No.
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 no,
Candidate 331727.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
yes,
Candidate 358216.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 386712.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 396230.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 224951.
Yes.
No.
Hold.
no,
Candidate 392449.
Yes.
No.
Hold.
no,
Candidate 384827.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 383151.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 396347.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 34246.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 388973.
Yes.
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 yes,
Candidate 266884.
Yes.
Yes.
Hold.
no,
Candidate 383680.
Yes.
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 Candidate 390458.
Yes.
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 Candidate 390566.
Yes.
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 Candidate 386588.
Yes.
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 And the next candidate listed on the survey will be held until the next commission meeting while we follow up on some good information. So we'll be moving to candidate 205826.
Yes.
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 Candidate 313739.
Yes.
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 Candidate 299407.
Yes.
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 Candidate 389701.
Yes.
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 Candidate 387050.
Yes.
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 Candidate 299060.
Yes.
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 Candidate 387285.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Candidate 393199.
Yes.
I'm changing mine to yes.
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 Candidate 115151.
Yes.
I'm changing mine again to yes.
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 Candidate 1719.
Yes.
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 3 candidates held today for executive session.
Okay, now we will go in. Oh, yes, we have a motion.
Hold on. I could actually, I could easily change my vote to no on
Which one? The number.
0.224951. I'm sorry, 39392449. That is a yes. This was a marginal
I want
suitable.
to make sure.
It's the 8th one down, I think.
Yes. Do you want to call that one again? It's the second that was held over.
Right.
Yes, that's 392449.
Yeah, I can vote no on that.
All right.
And the next one as
And then
well.
I will vote, so just making sure.
Yeah.
I had said hold. I will vote no on 392449.
That was the second held candidate.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore, you said you wanted to change yours for the first held candidate as well.
Yeah. The next held candidate was which number?
So the
266884. Further down.
that one I'd like to discuss.
Yeah, I'm going to discuss. I thought there was another one. I thought there was.
The one right above the second help candidate.
224951.
Oh, it was a hold on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll vote no on that as well. Okay.
Okay. And
And Commissioner Stout, would you like to remain on hold?
I'll vote yes on that one, but I would like to discuss the third candidate. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second motion.
The motions are made to go into executive session. For to discuss candidate deliberation, personnel matters. And do I have all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. We will now.
Later, Chantel.
Thank you,
Don't leave.
Chantel.